Hello, Facebook family. Pop Barnes here. And if you got my message last Thursday, I said we're going to be coming on every Monday morning from 10 to 10:30 with your health tips or community tips for the week. And why? If you know anything about me, you know I want you to be healthy and live a long, healthy life with your loved ones. And as far as community tips, just good information that you can use. And I'm joined here with my partners, Integrated Health Partners, New Horizons Community Health, and Tree of Life. And we're going to be coming to you every Monday now, every Monday morning from 10 to 10:30 with some really, really, really good health or community information. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask the Integrated Health Partners to introduce themselves, starting with the CEO of New Horizons Behavioral Health, my friend, Miss Andrea Winston. Andrea, give you a chance to introduce yourself, and then Susan, and then Pastor Clyde can introduce himself. So the ball is in your court with that cute little puppy that you got there with you. Yes. We're all socially distancing, by the way. All of us are not wearing masks because we're playing safe. We're at different locations. Okay, Andrea.
Good morning, Pops. It's a wonderful Monday, and we're going to start this week off right and focus on our health, because when it gets down to it, that's the most important thing. So this week, that we would change the focus up a little bit and focus on children. As you said earlier, my name is Andrea Winston, and I have the amazing pleasure as serving as the CEO of New Horizons Behavioral Health. And then we're going to hear from some of our other partners this morning, and they're going to introduce themselves. And we're going to focus on children, like I said. I'm at the house this morning, and I've got a child that's doing the homeschooling. And now Zoom is officially down just about nationwide. So now we've got a different struggle going on this morning with this new world that we're in. Who would have thought we would have been in this position this time last year? It's just amazing how things have turned. So we're going to go on. I'm going to let Susan introduce herself, and then we also have Pastor Clyde here, and we're going to focus on our children this morning. Susan?
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Susan Gallagher, Director of Development, Marketing, and Community Relations at New Horizons. I have the wonderful job of going out into all of the 8 counties that we serve and spread the word around mental health, mental wellness, substance use disorder, and the various services that are available through New Horizons Behavioral Health.
Good morning. Grateful to be here, Pastor Laura Clyde, President and CEO of Tree of Life Healthcare, and it's great this morning to be focusing on our children. So grateful for this partnership, and we come together with Councilor Barnes and share health information that not only will help, but also prevent some things in our lives that can help us live a long and well-satisfied life.
And I'm excited because we got some really good information about you. It's really exciting, and it's guaranteed to benefit you and give you a different perspective of how you relate to children. And so, Susan, you got the PowerPoint presentation. As I say always, for any of the partners that want to just mention Susan or Pops or Lowell or Andrea, that you want to come in, and we can keep the flow going. So, Susan, adverse childhood experiences.
Ooh, let me get back. Let me go back one. Yes. Ms. Winston, do you want to say anything on ACEs?
Let me unmute myself here. It's a very important topic. I don't know how many people are familiar with the acronym ACEs, but it's for adverse childhood experiences, and it covers the gamut of things. If you've lived in this world, then you've had some negative experiences. And somebody once said to me that although the mind may not be aware of trauma or cognizant of the impact of trauma, the body keeps score. The body keeps score of what has happened to you. Yes. And so even though the mind may not be aware of what I experienced as a child has impacted me, the body does. And so we're going to go on, not only talk about just abuse, but a wide variety of traumatic experiences that our children may be living with, and the impact that it brings to who they are and their personalities and how they interact with the everyday world.
Exactly. Resilience is so important for children to overcome these ACEs. Adverse childhood experiences of abuse, neglect, trauma, family dysfunction between birth and age 18 can disrupt brain development and limit social, emotional, and cognitive functioning. And one of the ACEs that's not listed here is the trauma that all of us are experiencing right now as we're going through this COVID pandemic and the changes and disruptions it's brought to our life. ACEs are the root causes of many serious academic, social, and behavioral health problems that have the potential to prevent a child from reaching their full potential. So the potential of ACEs is to stop the child from being fully who they could be.
Again, Susan, if I say something is so very important, as we just heard Ms. Winston talking about Zoom being down and this new normal that we're in right now with COVID-19 and the stress that our children are under and not being able to socialize, and socialization comes to their peers. And so it's not a matter of when your child is having some issue with their behavior, blaming them at all, but asking questions about what's going on in their lives and trying to, again, reach that child and understand the stress that they're under.
Right, exactly. That's what we want to find out. ACEs are very common. They can have an impact on your adult life. But one of the things that we really want to address and get through to the community is we need to change the question. We don't need to ask that child that's misbehaving or maybe has a tendency to be sullen or violent. We don't need to ask them, what's wrong with you? ACEs encourages you to change the question and ask, what happened to you? And then build on that child's strengths and resiliency to help them grow to their full potential.
And Susan, that's very, very, very important, because it starts pointing a finger at someone and saying that you did something wrong. You need to say, what happened to you? And that's a very powerful saying, to say not what's wrong with you, but what has happened to you, because
Exactly.
that is what's correct.
Exactly. So this just shows how ACEs, child development periods, there's certain things, certain milestones that are supposed to be reached by age 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. ACEs can impact those sensitive development periods. And then there's also genetics that are involved. There's a word down there, epigenetics. And all of those go into the wiring of the brain.
And Susan, just let me, when I got your marvelous slides, I did, being a nurse, I wanted to get into it when I saw that. And what's surprising is that trauma does not change the gene, but it changes the expression of that gene. For instance, what could be something healthy like fortitude or courage, when a person experiences trauma, can morph into being super aggression. That's just exactly how vital and how important it is when you know that children are blank slates and can be molded by anything that a person says or does. So this slide, when I saw this slide that you got, Susan, I felt like reaching out through the telephone and hugging you, because this slide here just portrays just how impactful and exactly what, Andre, I'm going to steal that expression, by the way. If you don't mind, do I have to give you attribution? When you said the mind may not be aware of the trauma, but the body keeps count. That is awesome expression, and very
That's the name of a book relating to trauma. It's called The Body Keeps Score, and I just changed it up a little bit. I said The Body Keeps the Score, and because I like that a little bit better, but it's so true, and helps us to remember that although we may not be aware of it up here, but the body is going to react, and you'll see it come out in terms of the behavior or activity, but also in terms of, especially with adults, with our health. Stress is eating a lot of us alive every day. And I know we're focusing on children today, but more so the stress and trauma can affect the health of adults as well, and children.
exactly right.
And if I may say so, Councilor Barnes, from a pastoral point of view, the Bible teaches us that as a man thinketh, so is he. It also says from the heart flows the issues of life. and from the heart the mouth speaketh. So the body and mind is so interrelated. And
Yes.
it also said
Yes.
we are fearfully and wonderfully made. God has designed us in such a wonderful way.
Okay, Susan, there we go.
Right. ACEs are common, interrelated, and powerful. And remember that ACEs stands for Adverse Childhood Experiences. You might call that the baggage that we carry with us through our life.
Exactly.
There's intergenerational transmission of ACEs, increase of multiple health and social problems. And in our general population, there are high ACE scores. So many people have 1, 2, 3, 4 or more adverse childhood experiences that impact on their lives. A person with 4 or more ACEs is more than likely to have heart disease, have a stroke, cancer, diabetes. This is again how how the mind and body are interconnected. And Miss Winston, I'm going to steal your phrase about the sweet spot between physical care and psychiatric care. And if we want to reach that sweet spot of the optimum care of our overall health and wellness, we need to integrate care of our mind, body, and soul.
And Andre, I want to let you know, someone heard you say that, had never heard it verbalized in that manner, but that is that crucial point, that intersection, that sweet spot where the mind and the body does merge together.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Okay, Susan.
All right. So children that are exposed to ACEs they develop adaptations to toxic stress. They develop a more violent response to normal situation. They risk academic failure, early substance abuse. They might be kicked out or dropped out of school. And those in turn affect their individual lives, the lives of their family, and the life of their community. They might wind up with low-wage jobs, disabilities, chronic health problems. So ACEs could essentially be pathways to poverty and homelessness, and be intergenerational pathways to poverty and homelessness.
I was just getting ready to mention that this is, and your 2 previous slides, when it says the impact can be 50 years later. Well, you know, everyone has heard of that expression, generational curse. And so this is appropriate to it. And I'm so glad that we're having this discussion, because it takes the blame. It's not pointing the finger at individuals. It's explaining to them, this is why. And so when I went through your slides, Susan, you did a masterful job in it. And the one thing I got over was it's taking the blame from the persons and it's letting them know why. It's explaining to them. And that's why I'm so happy that we're doing this every Monday. Next slide.
Okay. Next slide. So the impact on child development. Disordered environments are going to equal dysfunctional skills. So if a child comes from an environment that has food insecurity, family verbal abuse, sexual abuse, domestic violence, lack of regular housing, if the parents are moving from apartment to apartment, those disordered environments are going to create dysfunctional skills in the children. And that's where we need to change that question of what's wrong with you to what happened to you. Violence teaches withdrawal, anxiety, distrust, overreaction, and/or aggression as coping behaviors. So children from disordered environments have disordered coping behaviors.
Right.
By adolescence, that's age 13 and older, children have sufficient skill and independence to seek relief through the following. But sometimes as young as 11-year-olds, you'll see alcohol abuse, smoking tobacco, sexual promiscuity. They may be using psychoactive drugs, mind-altering drugs. You see eating disorders, overeating, undereating, delinquent behaviors. These are those negative coping skills that they develop as a result of the ACEs. And New Horizons has quite a few programs to help children and families when they're seeking relief through treatment.
And Susan, I think Andrea and I were on the same sheet of music when I went through the slides. She said, I would like for you to highlight, because what we're doing, we're trying to educate and help, but we also need to let them know about resources. Can you talk about a couple of your programs that you have available through New Horizons?
Sure. Ms. Winston, do you want to address the programs, or do you want me to take that one on?
Sure, I'll start, and if I leave off any, Susan, you can jump in. We have a wonderful partnership with Muskogee County School District that this year we've started providing in-school counseling services for one of their schools in particular that is demonstrated a high need. So we're really excited about that new partnership with the Muskogee County Schools. Also, we have what we call a children's substance abuse clubhouse. And the premise behind that is that if you've got a child that's experimenting or addicted to drugs or alcohol, that the recovery from that has got to be just as enjoyable and exciting as the use of life was. You know, kids don't like boring things, they like exciting things. So we've got a children's adolescent clubhouse, and that we do all sorts of fun activities and outings in conjunction with teaching them about ways that they can access recovery and wellness. And what we've got we've got a child and adolescent clinic, and that the children can come and see the psychiatrist in case medications are needed for depression or what other disorders they may have. So what else am I leaving off, Susan?
One thing I felt was very important was family training.
Right.
That's right. That's
awesome.
right.
And Susan, let me tell you, and to our viewing audience, we've talked about this before, and I'm really excited about what Susan is going to explain about, because no parent comes equipped with a handbook. I know there was Dr. Spock. He talked about the physical many years ago, but I see Andrea laughing there. But you know, no parent comes with a handbook on the correct way of raising. And so unintentionally, going on what their experience has been, ACEs, that they transfer that to their children. So Susan, this program that New Horizons has, I really want you to speak about so that people in the community really know that it's available, the parents and foster parents and whoever it may be raising children, that they know that this is available to them.
Right. So you may have a child with a diagnosis of a developmental disability, or a child that has a behavioral health disorder diagnosis. And as parents, it's hard enough parenting a child who doesn't have a diagnosis. So the family training team works with parents on how to discipline, how to have the family unit not disrupted by the child's special needs, how to keep the other children from maybe being jealous if this child is being disciplined in a different manner, how to build on the skills of that family to make it a better functioning family unit. You know, that motto again at New Horizons is building better lives, and it's not just our motto, it's our mission. And that's something we do through family training also.
If I might say,
and so now, Susan, go ahead, Reverend Clyde.
I just think it's just an outstanding program that New Horizon have that really need to be highlighted and lifted up. Equipping parents with the coping skills to equip their children is such a very important program that they have, especially during this time of COVID-19 and these new norms that we're experiencing now. What an outstanding program.
Right.
You know, it is an outstanding program, but what I really like about it is that it's holistic. Yes. It's holistic. We're helping the parents, and that's the type of program that really is needed to break the generational curse or the generational cycle among families. And I know that we're speaking to a lot of people, definitely speaking to the Barnes household and, on this here, and these people need to know where they can come.
Right.
Well, how easily it is to access this program? What would a person need to do to access this program?
They would call our intake number at 706-596-5500. That's the first step, and then tell them that they're interested in family training, and also they'd like to know about our telehealth services. Family training goes back to the ripple effects that Ms. Winston talked about last week with integrated healthcare, how a mental health disorder or behavioral health disorder affects the individual, but the next ripple out is the family. And so family training helps the family with some of those ripple effects and maybe be able to stop them before they start having community effects or societal effects.
There we go, because it is a ripple, like Andrea said, it goes with the individual, and family, and then the community. So it benefits so many layers when individuals are just educated and they know how to fix things.
Right.
Okay, let's go to the next slide.
Next slide. Okay. So adverse childhood experiences are one of the major causes of underlying chronic depression in adults. Adults with 4 or more ACEs, females are almost 60% likely to have an underlying chronic depression, and men are almost 40% likely to be suffering from chronic depression if they had 4 or more ACEs as children at 18 or younger. ACEs are the underlying cause of suicide attempts in adults. If you had 4 or more ACEs as a child growing up, you're almost 20% more likely to attempt suicide than folks that had a childhood relatively free of ACEs.
And this chart is staggering when you look at that.
Yes.
When you just look at this chart and you see it, it's just staggering.
Right. Some of the baggage that people carry with them through life is very heavy baggage. And some of the ACEs can be very severe, and just that trauma that they carry with them through life is sometimes very overpowering. So there's also the impact of ACEs on school performance. Childhood obesity, early age of first intercourse, that means children having sex at a younger age, teen pregnancy, bullying, dating violence, not only perpetrating in dating violence, but being a victim of dating violence.
Yeah.
Young boys that are subject to ACEs may bully their girlfriends, and the girlfriends may wind up thinking that's how a normal relationship, a healthy relationship is. Fighting and carrying a weapon to school. Remember, the response to ACEs is coping skills that are more violent than they should be. Children exposed to ACEs have an early initiation of tobacco use, early drug use, early alcohol use, and self-mutilation, which is cutting or picking at themselves, and suicide. Suicide is the #2 cause of death for children in the state of Georgia between the ages of 10 and 17. We are not addressing these adverse childhood experiences that our children are going through in Georgia. We have to do a better job. Any comments before I move on to the last slide?
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Any comments from Reverend Client or Andrea on the impacts of ACEs on school performance? I would think now what would be showing up, and I heard someone saying that this is such an abnormal, it's two. It's a new normal, but for a lot of children, it is also abnormal what they're going through. Even though they're going through their virtual classes, they're still used to eating breakfast in school. They're used to going to their various classes and interrelating with their fellow students. They're used to having recess or a break. They're used to gym. There are a lot of things that they're not having the opportunity to do that are stressors for the children now. And so we're in a new normal, but it's abnormal for everyone, but especially for the children.
Exactly.
So, really, especially for the children. And so we can expect some of these children to act out on some of the feelings that they have, and normally so. And I'm just glad that we have New Horizons available, that we connect individuals and Tree of Life Healthcare to know that there are resources that the parents can go to.
Right. The best thing the parents and caregivers can be is nurturing and understanding and compassionate. And like Dr. Clyde said earlier, talk to their children about what they're going through and validate their feelings of isolation, etc.
You just brought a good point. Validating their feelings is very important. Not saying, what's the matter? You have nothing to be concerned about. You have to validate the child's feelings and experiences. Next slide, please.
Okay, and this is the final slide, and it's just some
Yes, I
parting
like
words.
this slide.
Frederick Douglass says, "It is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men."
That is an awesome, and you want to know something? Look how apropos what Frederick Douglass said to our conversation now, and this is huge. Well, we've got about 7 minutes left here on air, and I just like to say that what we would like to do, we would like to generate from our viewers some questions and some discussions that we will answer the following Friday. I know this is a very, very, very meaty discussion, and you want something that, considering the times, it's an extremely important one. And we're going to be here every Monday morning, good Lord willing, through the graces of the good Lord, from 10 to 10:30 each Monday. And I can express my feelings, and I'm looking at Andrea and Susan and Reverend Client. It is our joy really to come to you to present topics like this here that are going to be beneficial for you. And we know that we are speaking. I know that this program here has spoken to Pop Barnes with our children, our grandchildren, and great grandchildren now.
Wow.
It has been, listen, it has benefiting. And while you were presenting, Susan, I was thinking, I know for a fact that the Barnes household could have used a lot of what we discussed today. Unfortunately, with the grace of God, our children and grandchildren are doing well. But you want to know something? They could have maybe been a lot better if we had used some of the tools that your program speaks about. And so we would like to invite our viewing audience that if you have questions, I'm going to give you my phone number, 706-442-0249. And I've had some people call me, especially on that comment of the sweet spot that Andrea, the lady that called me, didn't quite understand when she said a sweet spot. I said, yeah, that's that intersection. A sweet spot is a point where only two things can meet at one time. And so she understood when I explained that to her. And so that's my phone number. My email addresses are pops9784@aol.com and pops9784@gmail.com. And Andrea, if you can give your contact information so we can get these good questions from our viewing audience.
My email is awinston@nhbh.org, and my office number is 706-596-5582. Be happy to answer any questions. Feel free to reach out. Don't hesitate.
Susan?
706-596-5517. I would like to ask people to visit our website, www.nhbh.org, and to let you know that New Horizons will be hosting our 4th annual Children's Mental Health Symposium via Zoom on September 4th. So I'd love you to go to our website, find out about the Children's Mental Health Symposium, and register for it.
Reverend Clyde?
Office number is 706-225-0355. My email address is Lowell Clyde, LOWELL, at treeoflifehealthcare.org. And you can reach our website at www.treeoflifehealthcare.org.
And Susan, let's whet their appetite for what we're going to be talking about next time.
Oh. I'm not prepared for it. What are we talking about next time? Oh, it's August 31st. Recovery rocks, isn't it?
We got contacted from the state.
Right. We got the state of Georgia
We bad.
representatives
We
from the
bad.
Georgia.
We got the state on board. We
Yes.
bad.
Yeah, the Georgia Council on Substance Abuse is sending 2 guests. They're going to be meeting virtually. We're going to be together apart, and we're going to be talking about National Recovery Month and what New Horizons is doing to celebrate Recovery Month. Recovery rocks. And you'll find out more about what we meet about that next time we meet.
We got the attention of the state. We
Yeah,
rocking.
we got the
And
state.
it makes us feel so good to get this information out to you. So, okay, so now we are very cognizant of your time. Our program is from 10 to 10:30. It is now 10:28:23. And so we're going to say, as we always say, until next time, please be good and kind to yourself because God loves you.
Yeah.
God bless you now. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. Bye, everybody. Thank you.